Well, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome to the stage a poet who really speaks, I think, to our age. Everybody please welcome to the stage Julie Easley.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Oh, that's really, I'll just do that, okay. Thanks for having me with the Queers. I was really chuffed that you asked me to perform, because I haven't done any gigs for ages. As you all know, we've been a bit preoccupied. The last time I was in here, in this room, was 2018, and John Cooper Clarke was on this stage, and I was sat there where you got that. And so it's amazing to actually be here, and you're there. You're watching me now, yay! Right, I'm going to do a mixture of poems. I hope you like them. The first one is a celebration of Teesside, because we get a lot of shit about, that we're shit, but we're not. So this poem's called Teesside Streets. If these Teesside streets could speak, they'd say how beautiful we are, how we meet on the corners, scream our silence into the town, knocked down, pushed around, but looking up to skies that cradle us all. They'd say we deserve more, that the music we make is rooted in notes only we can play. Wish we could bottle that. Taste this, they'd say. Pure Teesside, streetwise, eyes wide, scoring out a future from the sidelines. They'd say we twist and turn with the T's, a river of steel flowing through us, branching out into streams that always lead to home. These streets would say we have community, that we are a union of poetry. We have a way with words that turn others green, kicking the blues into next week. We sneak a peek at the sun setting just over the border. They say we walk to our own beat. We breathe in iron. You can hear our echoes down the alleys. If these Teesside streets could speak, they'd say, slice through the smog of beggared loss and see how beautiful we are. Thanks. Patsy. My next two poems are 2020 summed up. So the first one I wrote in the summer of July 2020. I wrote this when we were just coming out of lockdown. We're allowed to see 6 people, and this poem kind of I'll just do it and then you'll understand. And it's called Skin. Skin tingling under fingertips, whispering light across curves, pausing deliciously, brushing lips, slipping on silken scars carved onto stretched marks, pausing deliciously, fingers fumbling over finest lines, tracing years of life redefined. Arms enfolding, embracing, holding, pausing deliciously. Arms enfolding, embracing, holding, pausing deliciously. Bodies rebonding, shoulders sighing, sensations returning, yearning for skin tingling under fingertips. Emotions resurging, reconnecting. Arms enfolding, embracing, holding, pausing deliciously. So my next poem is the other half of 2020, and I'm just going to give a trigger warning here. If you're a Tory, you better leave. No, seriously, you'll be really offended by this poem. So in the summer of 2020, we were let out, but also the Tories voted to not feed the kids, remember? So I was so enraged. Oh, and another thing that happened was, I know you all remember the tragedy of Grenfell. Well, Jacob Rees-Mogg went on the radio and he said that the people who died because they didn't have any common sense to leave the building. And then his wonderful sister tweeted, just as the Tories voted to starve the kids, tweeted that frozen chips, a bag of spuds was cheaper than frozen chips and poor people should buy proper spuds. So this poem is all of that put together. And it's called Let Them Eat Chips. Common sense is cheap these days. Just ask the rich. They chuck in their opinion, churn out recipes for free. They say their poor can't budget except for fags and booze and huge TVs. They line up in their taxpayer limos for the latest photo op, for selfies at the food bank where the poor can get their spuds, and rummage an excellent choice in tins for something to go on toast. They say food poverty is so in vogue, they flood their Twitter feeds, the smiling elites with thumbs up, giving nourishment for a fee. Common sense is cheap these days. Just ask the rich. They give their mates billions, set up companies just for fun, sit their privileged arses on piles of cash, then vote to starve the kids. They gorge on gourmet menus, wipe out Cummings' council tax, then point their dodgy fingers at the parents lost in a poverty trap. They promise to level up, that we're in this all together. They'd slash and cut and level down, laugh and clap and cheer with glee. The poor, they say, can feed themselves if they spend more responsibly. Common sense is cheap these days. Just ask the rich. The poor, they say, aren't poor enough to deserve more from the pot. They'll piss it up the wall, they say, or spend it all on crack. They make all the wrong decisions, the problem's plain to see. The poor don't need luxury stuff like choices of what to afford. A tin of beans or the heating on, a loaf of bread or pay the rent, a bag of spuds or frozen chips. Common sense is cheap these days. Just ask the stinking rich. Poems are love poems, and I cannot do love when I've got the Tories on. I'll put it there. So my next poem, in 2020, I know I keep talking about 2020 a lot, but I feel like we're still there. The United Nations was 75 years old, and I was asked, as part of Tees Women Poets, to write a poem to celebrate it. And performed it at Middlesbrough Town Hall, and this is the poem that I did. It's called One World. One world, united. 75 years, but the nations keep on fighting. Lining pockets with the profits of war, where the rich reap the rewards, and the poor do the dying. One world, united. 75 years, but the nations keep on weaponising. Women and children invaded, abused by blue helmets meant to protect. The price is their lives discarded. One world, united. 75 years, but the nations keep us divided. 186 voices, but Palestine kept silent. Indigenous rights still non-binding. And we stand and watch all the refugees drowning. One world, united. 75 years, but the nations keep on illegalising, condemning queer lives into hiding, promoting love above hate, where identity is a tool for marginalising. One world, united, but the nations keep on... I've forgotten the next line. One world, united, but the nations keep on denying. Mother Earth is crying. The powerful turn a blind eye because money is worth the planet dying. One world, united, 75 years, but the nations keep on classifying. First world solutions shouldn't become third world problems. We need to be one world, united. Thank you. Right, all the next are all like love, so that's all the other bits gone. So I'm going to do a love poem. I don't write many love poems, but this is a proper love poem. This is a moment in time, a moment of happiness and a moment of love. They're very fleeting things, moments of happiness. So this poem is about a wonderful summer's day having a picnic in Snake Rock, which was a nickname for a place where I lived in Arizona. And it's called The Day We Went for a Picnic at Snake Rock. Coiled in each other's springs, we lay snug together at Snake Rock under a slothful sun, too slow to catch us. Skinny dipping, we shed our skins, slip into sensual flow of icy river water, rippling rhythmically over bodies too stoned to swim. Tongue-tipped snakes and barbed whipped scorpions scatter as we splash, splash, all senses alive with summer madness. Empty bottles flock together, gather like sheep in a pen, unsure of their use, unsure of their use. Outside of us, the distant hum of rushed lives hush, our fingers entwine in nature's deliciousness, licked greedily between courses, as dangling legs hiss and tease with pink painted toenails dipped in pleasure. And we sigh, sprawled and spent on rocks warm to perfection. We kiss and kiss and kiss until our lips are drinking each other. My next poem I wrote for Darlington Pride in 2020. It was an online pride, so I recorded it as a little video. But then in 2021, I actually got to perform it at Darlington Pride proper, which was fantastic. And so this is another poem about love, and it's called Single Woman Gazing. I always gaze at couples. Sometimes for far too long to be considered normal. It's like some weird thing wired in my mind that makes me want to stare. A longing to know love, perhaps, or an immense sense of pride. My eyes are wide at the visible. Emotional as I am at couplings, I choose my muses with inclusion. Though I'm no expert, I must add. I couldn't churn out a step-by-step guide to proper couple spotting, but the signs are there in the simplest of gestures. You might think, what does she know, this single woman gazing? What right does she have to assume we are seamless? And I would look you in the eye and tell you I know love doesn't care about gender. And this watching I do, it soothes the part of me that hopes. It soothes me to know that love knows no limitations. that love exists beyond identity, that love can hold your sense of self. I see that love can be almost perfection, and proud as I am, I gaze. Thank you. My next poem I wrote for International Women's Day 2021. Yay! And I wrote this, well, I wrote it for International Women's Day, but the particular thing about this poem is the last verse, so listen to the last verse, is for trans women. Because I'm a feminist, I've been a feminist for a long, long time, and I truly believe that if you want equality, then you do not get your equality by oppressing another group. And so, as a feminist, I will always be inclusive of all sisters. So this poem is for all women, and it's called We Are the Goddess. She is the goddess. She is the maiden and the mother. She is the crone colouring the skies. She is the originator, the imaginator. She is the goddess. She is the morning mist, the moon on the ocean. She consumes the stones into dust. She is the unconscious rush of the breeze, murmuring to her sisters, remember to dream. She is the essence of the earth, the breath and the beat. She is the birthplace of all nations, the pulsation of all sisters. She is the maiden and the mother, the crone colouring the skies, the originator, the imaginator. She is the goddess. She is the custodian, the curious and the questioner. She is the quiet sway of exposure. She is the consequence. She is the uncomfortable noise to injustice. She is the words on the tongues of the lost voices. She is the soundtrack and the recordings. She is the goddess. She shines on those dulled by oppression, for she is the storm wearer. Remember, sisters, she says, we are not weapons. We are the goddess, and the bodies we wear, we possess. I can't tell you how happy I am that I've got through 7 poems without getting my paper out. No, don't clap yet, I've got one more to go. Shit, I shouldn't have said that, should I? Why did I say that? Right, my last poem is for Pride. And, yay! This is a poem I wrote for Darlington Pride, but it's a poem that I really love, and yeah, I'm just going to do it. It's called Pride is Love. Pride is community. Finding your vibe and your tribe, accepted and respected just as you are. Because belonging is a longing we all hold in our hearts. Pride is confidence. Wear your badge with honour. Value your worth with purpose and passion. Promote and be present. Step into your power. Pride is fluid because one size doesn't fit. There's more than the colours blue and pink. There's more than two genders. The spectrum is endless. Pride is inclusion, a sign of your representation. Equal in hearts and minds, equal in law and love. No difference in dignity, no less in respect. Pride is identity with the freedom to choose. If he or she doesn't define who you are, take your pronouns, your name, and make them your own. Pride is protest despite the oppression. Celebrate each success, each voice spoken and heard, each letter. LGBTQIA+ is a person, another human soul. Pride is strength and solidarity with others, shoulder to shoulder, sharing and caring, stepping out of the box society locks us all in. Pride is visible. To live how you love gives others permission to live in their truth. Stand with them and for them. Loud and proud, pride is unity, celebrating diversity. A vibrant chorus of voices singing their hearts out in a world rainbow-coloured and every shade in between. Pride is expression of self and self-love. Pride is celebration. Pride is culture. Pride is love, and love always wins. Pride is love, and love always wins. Pride is love. Love always wins. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Everybody, Julie Easley.